Welcome to Earnings Intelligence. In 2003, Berkshire Hathaway had a problem that most companies would kill for. They had way too much money. But for Warren Buffett, that giant pile of cash was like a ticking clock. So in this explainer, we're going to deconstruct how Berkshire's solution to this so-called problem completely redefined its future, and honestly offers a timeless lesson for all of us in strategic patience.
Now, on the surface, 2003 looked amazing for Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, a 21% increase in per-share book value, that added a whopping $13.6 billion to its net worth. But, and this is the interesting part, behind this massive number lies a paradox, one that reveals a really crucial shift in Buffett's entire strategy. And here's that paradox. For the first time in years, Berkshire actually underperformed the S&P 500. So wait a minute, what gives? Why is this year so important then? Well, it's because this moment marks a fundamental change in Buffett's game plan, a pivot that we're about to break down piece by piece.
All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll look at the turning point itself. Then we're going to decode Berkshire's unique financial engine, the secret sauce, really. After that, we'll dive into the big, bold bets they made in 2003, revisit the company's core philosophy, and finally, we'll pull out the single most valuable lesson from this pivotal year.
Okay, so what exactly was this big strategic shift? Well, by 2003, Berkshire was just swimming in cash. The problem was the stock market didn't really have the kind of huge, undervalued companies that could make a difference for a giant like Berkshire anymore. They just got too big for their old hunting ground. They needed somewhere new to put their money to work.
And this quote from Buffett himself just nails it. The game was changing. They were moving from being stock pickers to being business buyers. It wasn't about buying a slice of the pie anymore. It was about buying the whole bakery. And this whole shift was a direct result of their massive size and a market that just wasn't offering any easy bargains.
So how on earth could they afford to just go out and buy entire companies? To get that, we need to pop the hood and look at Berkshire's financial engine. And it really runs on two key concepts that are absolutely central to how Buffett thinks: intrinsic value and insurance float.
First up, let's talk intrinsic value. Buffett says this is the only logical approach to evaluation. See, it's not about the stock price bouncing around every day. It's not even about the accounting book value. It's all about answering one simple question. Over its entire lifetime, how much actual cash can this business generate for its owners? It's an estimate, sure, but for a long-term investor, it's the only number that really matters. The report uses a brilliant analogy to explain this. Think about a college education. The book value, that's what you paid in tuition, but the intrinsic value, that's all the extra money you're going to earn over your entire career because you got that degree. See the difference? One is a past cost, the other is future potential. And Buffett is always focused on the potential. Okay, so the second part of this financial engine is the real secret weapon, insurance float. In simple terms, this is all the money customers pay in premiums that Berkshire gets to hold on to and invest for themselves before they have to pay out any claims. It's basically like getting a massive interest-free loan that they can use to fuel their acquisitions.
But here's where the magic really happens. With Berkshire's float, it's not just interest-free. It's often better than free. How? Well, if their insurance businesses take in more money in premiums than they pay out in claims and expenses, that's called an underwriting profit. And that means they are literally getting paid to hold and invest other people's money. It's incredible.
And just look at the growth here. I mean, it is absolutely staggering. From just $20 million back in 1967, it just ballooned to over $44 billion by 2003. This mountain of cash, this is the secret weapon. This is the war chest that lets Berkshire go out and make these massive deals. So with this giant war chest, what did Berkshire actually buy in 2003? Well, they made two huge acquisitions, and the story behind the first one is just classic Buffett. It didn't start with a boardroom full of bankers. Nope, it started with a book from a group of college students. You gotta love this story. So, a group of students gives Buffett the autobiography of Jim Clayton, the founder of Clayton Homes. Buffett, who had actually lost money on a competitor before, reads the book. He loves the company's culture, so what does he do? He just picks up the phone and calls the CEO. And based on that book, the public numbers, and just his gut feeling about the people, he makes an offer. No fancy due diligence, no army of analysts, just pure conviction. And if you thought that was wild, check out the other huge deal from 2003, the acquisition of McLane from Walmart. This was for a company with $23
billion in revenue. And the deal was done after a single 2-hour meeting. No due diligence. So why? Well, it all came down to one word: trust. As Buffett wrote, "We knew everything would be exactly as Walmart said it would be." It's just a powerful reminder that sometimes trust is the ultimate competitive advantage. Now, these acquisitions, they weren't just lucky guesses, not at all. They were guided by a really clear and consistent philosophy, one that Buffett lays out in his owner's manual. And this document, this is the real key to understanding how Berkshire makes its biggest decisions. And here it is, their checklist. It's so simple, but it's also incredibly strict. They're looking for bold, profitable companies that are easy to understand and have great management already in place. Oh, and look at number 6. They won't even start a conversation without knowing the asking price. No games. It's this kind of discipline that is the real secret to their long-term success. This quote right here from that owner's manual, it really gets to the very heart of the Berkshire philosophy. They treat their shareholders like partners, not just numbers on a spreadsheet. Their whole goal is to increase the long-term value of each and every share. They know you could just go buy an S&P 500 index fund, so they feel this obligation to deliver something more. And that commitment, that's what makes Berkshire so unique. All right, so after this whole deep dive, what's the one key takeaway? What's the golden nugget we can pull from Berkshire's 2003? Well, it's a lesson that was born from their biggest challenge that year, that mountain of cash and a real shortage of good ideas. And here it is. In a year where they had tons of cash and very few good places to put it, the pressure to just do something must have been enormous. But Berkshire chose patience. They understood that, yeah, holding cash can feel unproductive, it can feel painful, but making a bad investment out of impatience is so much worse. As Buffett himself admits, I speak from experience.
So we end up right where we began, with Berkshire's problem of having too much cash. The lesson of 2003 is that sometimes the absolute best solution is to do nothing at all. In a world that's always screaming at you to act now, to be busy, the discipline to just wait for the right opportunity, that might be your greatest advantage. So the question for all of us is, do we have that kind of patience?